Nice to meet you. I'm going to tell you about how to work with agencies and post your resume on job search websites. We will discuss first LinkedIn, an international worldwide great resource of candidates and vacancies, as well as your national resources. You can also look for executive search consulting agencies in your country. They search for top managers and key employees because they are high payable for their services. And their specialty is consulting, or more to say, development of companies and development of personnel. There is such a practice in executive search agencies that if we, for example, show people for top positions, at the same time we can recommend someone else to the company as well without getting paid for it. It is like a gift to the client from us, where we give them a number of resumes that we like. Therefore, if you suddenly hear about a position in the agency and you understand that you are not up to it, then you can simply send your CV to the agency for the position's lower grade that will be available later in the department. You can write in the cover letter that maybe for some of your clients there will be people like me needed in the teams. I could join your client's team. Please accept my resume and let me send it to you. This is the first point. The second point is about executive search. No need to ask them to meet you. Even if you are a superstar, even if you are the CEO of a very big company, you don't have to call all the agencies and ask them to arrange a meeting with you. They can meet you at a career meeting and advise you on your next step in your career. How you can find the next position for you, where to move ahead and grow. It is enough to send a resume or just write a short letter that I am now finishing my work there and there, or have already finished, and I am in the process of looking for new positions there and there. My goal is such and such. If the agency at the same time has positions at work fitting your profile, any executive search agency, Heidrichs and Struggles, Amrop, Korn & Ferry, Egan Zander, Russell Reynolds, and others, everybody will call you themselves. These mentioned agencies are the largest ones. Amrop was number one, Heidrich and Struggles was second in the world in 2023. But all these can change in a time. We can send the participants of the course list of those worldwide agencies. So if they create a position here and now, then this is a rather energy intensive and focused work on one position. They can have 10 or, 100 positions at the same time. But if they do not have a position according to your profile, and they are not looking for anyone, then it is useless for you to meet with them now. They will not offer you anything. They will not be able to show you to their clients. If they know you, they remember you, or they liked your resume and it fits the profile they are offering, they will contact you themselves. You don't need to remind the agencies to contact you. Believe me, they will contact you at the right moment, when they need. If you're talking about recruitment or agencies, recruitment or employment, it is the same. This is not a consulting field. Here, specialists are interested in closing small and medium positions. and finding working and office personnel and servicing personnel also. There is a big number of recruitment agencies, and they are interested in large volumes of resumes passing through them. There you will be more likely to be interviewed and shown somewhere. I have seen different statistics. In total, executive search and recruiters show up to 9% of candidates of all the market. Only 9% of candidates go to different companies through them. As you can see, the percentage is very small. If you rely on this working with agencies, you are missing out on the remaining 90%. In the early 19th, 40% of people found jobs via their contacts, 40% via direct search, and 5% through the agencies. But they were just starting emerging only, and it's a very low percentage. What other reasons are behind this low percentage? Recently, a lot of quite experienced recruiters have appeared, and they get paid a lot of money from the company for recruitment. I have already talked about it in previous videos. All companies that have their own HR departments strive to get all these recruiters to work for them inside the company. This is done so that recruiters who know the market in the industry well, all the competitors, are employed by the company and work for a salary. That way, the company pays from 5 to 10 times less money compared to what they would pay if they went to the market and gave an order to independent recruiters who are on the market, for example, in the agencies. It is not profitable for the companies to place orders to outside recruiters. That is why nowadays recruiters work inside the companies. Mostly, you will be dealing with the company recruiters and the method of direct search that we have discussed about directs you to go into them. You are like a real gift for them because they receive your resume in their mail for free. They don't need to look for you. When you send your resume to a company, you write to the attention of the HR department. If it is a foreign company, you can write in English or in Russian or in French, depending on which company you're writing to. If you know the name of HR director or the recruiter of this company, then when you write using a general address, you indicate attention to this and this person or attention of HR. Nowadays, it is common to find on the websites of all companies a separate email address for the HR departments. All companies are again interested in not paying money to the outside recruiters. They are interested in collecting databases for themselves, and they already have huge databases of candidates. So it is beneficial for them if your resume arrives. Usually, people think that if they send their resume to a general mailbox, for example, info@rusal.ru or SU and so on, then the girl who sits at the reception will definitely not miss their resume. Frankly, I don't think so. If you indicate that it is a resume for the HR department for such and such position, you can name the position that you are interested mostly. Then there is 95 or 99 probability that this very girl at the reception, who was instructed carefully about the company's policy to collect resumes of candidates, as it is profitable for the company to accept these resumes. She will send your resume to the HR and the personnel staff. There is always a chance that your resume goes to the spam folder. In that case, you need to call the company and find out the name of the recruiter or the personnel director. When you call to the company, you just say, "I would like to send my resume to your company. Could you please tell me who is the right person to send it to?" Or you will be given an email address at the reception if it's not available on the website. There are various databases in internet of national or foreign companies, all the industries out there with phone numbers and addresses. In my experience, if you take these directories, on average, 1/3 of the phones and email addresses may not be valid. Why might this be? The simplest thing is that they changed their email address a long time ago. It turns out that this data is simply not relevant compared to the data that you use from the printed or electronic sources. Another reason could be that the company has changed, or someone bought it, or it closed or went bankrupt. In other words, something happened to it and it doesn't exist anymore. The third reason could be that the company moved and changed its physical address, along with their phone number and many other things. Maybe the company has been rebranded and they changed the end of their address. For example, former Kraft Foods, I think you know their food products. Now they use the name Mondelez and are currently using a different domain name. So we might send our resume to the old domain, but they use the new domain, new brands and new different email addresses accordingly. You need to look up for the new accurate information on their websites. If your emails successfully get delivered, that means that the company's email addresses are still active and valid. How to access the recruiters? During the phone call to the company, you need to speak with the recruiter very quickly, preferably 20 seconds or maximum 2 minutes, because recruiters are quite busy. I know, for example, that Johnson & Johnson recruiter has 200 open positions that he or she works on at the same time. They are looking for 200 people for different positions. Their head works at a completely crazy speed. There is a colossal amount of information in it. Their eyes go blind from the PC screen. Everything spins in their head at a crazy speed. So be grateful and understanding when you talk to them on the phone, because you get them out their working process if you don't match the position. The recruiters must understand that picking up the phone wasn't a waste time for them, and that they had a conversation with an important and valuable candidate for their company during those 20 seconds. That is why the conversation must be very bright, fast, and memorable. Don't say about yourself, "I am looking for this, I have such and such experience, I can do that," and so on. Talk about the benefits that you want to bring to the company. Introduce yourself very briefly by saying what your goal, aspiration, and intention are. Ask them, "Do you need someone to do this in your company? Do you need me in your company?" Don't ask, "Do you need such people?" Be more specific. For example, does your company need to increase sales? change production, or make production more efficient? Does the company need to build a new factory? And so on. You specifically say, do you need me to do this in your company? If the recruiter says, no, it's not necessary, then you immediately ask, thank you very much, but among your recruiter friends, is there anyone that needs what I offer? This recruiter sits at that moment in his or her frantic state of processing 100 or 200 vacancies. If you have already entered into this telephone conversation like a comet, if you are friendly and radiate freshness, lightness, and light, and most importantly, you give good energy during this telephone conversation, then recruiter feels that his or her brain will explode from this crazy flow, and suddenly your conversation comes along. It's like a breath of oxygen. Believe me, this recruiter will get out of his working process. Pay attention to your message and try to do his best to assist you with your search. He or she might say, you know, we don't need someone with your profile in our company at the moment, but I know that in ABC company, a plant is currently being built. Please call them. In particular, call this recruiter. I know her. That's her name. You might be useful for them. Best of luck. Thank them for their help. Saying thank you can sound differently depending on how you say it. So be conscious of how you say each word when speaking on the phone. You can say thank you, which will sound like boo boo boo, and the girl will feel flat. Or you can say sincerely, thank you so much, and say it with feelings and kindness, so she can feel inspired after conversation. Or if the recruiter is a guy, you give him so much warmth and energy, after which he returns calmly to his work responsibilities and is happy to answer other telephone calls, because sometimes potential candidates call and they charge you with such energy. On the phone, tell them about your intention. If there is even a slightest match and you are really needed, you may want to clarify their contacts. To whom to send your resume? Their phone number or extension number, or the contact details of the HR department, or whoever is better to contact, whoever they advise you to contact. You must find out all their contacts, but it is also very desirable that you leave your contacts right away. Say, please write down my name. My name is Mikhail Ivanov. Make a brief note. Here is my phone number. This. Say it quickly, because the recruiter may simply have no time for such nuances. There is no time to pick up the phone and look, what number did they call me from? And write it down. Why no time? Because you see, you hang up in the hope that the recruiter will look at the phone and write your number down. But at that moment, when you finish your conversation, the recruiter will instantly receive another call, then another and another. If you are not sincere, he or she will forget about you. In best case, the recruiter can write only your name and surname down on the paper without a phone number. And then she will not know which of the incoming calls was yours, and she will lose you. Often there is an amazing situation when a person calls and says, I can build a plant. The recruiter says, "Thank you, but we don't need a plant at the moment." And this, for example, is a production holding company. And you know that if this is a production holding company, then in theory, they can build, open or rebuild factories, and you see an opportunity there. So you ask the person you speak to take your contacts, and the fact that you can build factories because you are a construction director. She has a piece of paper with your details, or maybe she wrote your details on a list. And in 5 minutes or in one day, in my practice, there have been so many situations like that. Her boss or the personal director comes in and says, "After the board of directors meeting, we decided that we are going to build a factory." Or, "We are under reconstruction and we are going to rebuild a factory." Or, "We are going to build additional production capacity. We urgently need to interview people who can build a factory." On the table of HR, there is a piece of paper with your contact details. She doesn't need to wait for your resume to arrive. And she remembers that it was you. She already has your contacts. So she will call you and ask you to send her your resume. After she gets it, she arranges an interview with you. So she has a potential candidate for the position. This fast connection works quite often. It seems like there was no position, but after you called, immediately a position was created. How it happens? I joke every time about it, saying that every new position is created by the employee when he or she is matured and is ready to do this job. An employee matures, and at the same time, an idea pops up some employers. Or you can say the needing person who can realize that idea is occurred. Opportunity comes at the moment someone is ready to do the job. This is with regards to calling the companies. Ideally, you should talk no less than 20 seconds and no more than 2 minutes. 2 minutes in one breath. The recruiter should not even insert a word into your conversation. This is how you start. "Hello, my name is..." "Very nice. How can I call you?" "Okay." Speak very briefly about yourself. "I'm looking for a new story now where this and this is needed. Do you need it?" Say everything very quickly. Take their contacts, give yours, promise to send your resume. Do everything very quickly and brightly. And while you talk, the recruiter shouldn't tell you, "I don't have time to talk to you. Send me a resume." Don't start a monotonous speech. What most people do. This is what I hear frequently. You pick up the phone, and from there such a voice comes out. "Hello, I'm the CEO of this company. I have now finished working at my enterprise. I'm considering such and such positions, and I'm interested in such and such, and my experience is such and such." First of all, this whole discussion is about me. I, me. On behalf of HR, I'm not interested to listen about your I. I'm interested in finding someone who will perform tasks, solve problems, and take responsibility. This CEO does not talk about tasks and that he is ready to provide solutions. He talks only about himself. Secondly, this is a monotonous and ambitiously arrogant tone. I'm the center of the universe. You see, like this. This is repelling. You don't want to talk to these candidates from the beginning. Even if the candidate sends this resume later, he will be lucky if the recruiter doesn't remember that this candidate spoke in an arrogant way. The recruiter might remember the candidate, and there is no way he or she will call him back. Because this type of people are so proud and ambitious, thinking how important they are. They are not needed, because the point is to find someone who will do the job and not talk about how important they are. Who does need this bubble that doesn't do anything but being ambitious and pompous? No one needs this. That's why be brief, send your resume, and if everything is okay, they will call you back. Next, regarding LinkedIn. All recruiters nowadays use LinkedIn very actively. You will need to create an account on LinkedIn if you still do not have, and put there everything that is in your resume, everything that is valuable. We'll open you a secret. If someone's profile in LinkedIn is very detailed and voluminous, this indicates to recruiters that the person is looking for a job. People who are not looking for a job have empty profiles. They exist, but they are empty. Such people don't provide much information about themselves. First point, you do profile. Second point, search. In one of the videos I told you about the direct search. LinkedIn will assist with search. On the very top left line, there is a window where search is. Now it looks like a magnifying glass. If you click there, go to the number, and you will see the positions that are displayed there by which you can search. You can search by people, by companies, by industries, and so on. There is a button on the side. Fill out the full profile of this search. You click there, start a search. For example, you find specific people in companies and send them a resume. For example, you want to work in procurement, and you are not the head of procurement, but just a purchaser. And you want to get into some kind of team of purchasers. So you need a chief procurement officers or the lead purchasers. Then you write all possible words in the search bar, only separately, not separated by commas. But first, look for everyone with the title Head of Buying or Chief Procurement Officer. Type all possible combinations of words, and for each combination, the search will highlight a large number of people working in different companies, and you can immediately send them your resume directly via LinkedIn. That is, you send an invitation to get acquainted. The site gives you a huge list of people. If you do not have an established contact with someone, then there is a Set Contact or Connect button window opposite them. You click on it and see two options. The first is simply send, and the second is personalize invitation. Personalize, please, your message. It is better if you personalize it instead of sending a bare invitation. because the person will simply receive a notification that, for example, Ivan Ivanov wants to establish contacts with you. What's out of it? Why better to personalize? If you write to a definite person specifically, hello, the name, or good afternoon, perhaps you need a buyer in the purchasing department who is ready to do this and that. Not tell them about yourself. Tell them about what you want to do. Again, very briefly. There are only 300 of characters. This is literally 4 or 5 lines. Very short message. You will need to write this message separately. LinkedIn will give you the opportunity to calculate the characters in your text when you first send it, so that you don't exceed these 300 of characters. Make this message short so that it fits every time, because the name of the person you are addressing the next time can be short or long. And copy this message. Try to keep the rest of the text with fewer characters so that there is enough space for long names. Save your message somewhere so that it can be copied and sent again. The rule of good manners in LinkedIn is that you leave your phone number there. If you don't leave it, this can create a tense situation that looks more like spam. When people leave their phone number, this is already a completely clear invitation to establish contact. And this indicates that they are open and ready to connect. This is always well received. People immediately start calling back to this phone number. If this is a remote region, then leave, please, for example, your Skype or WhatsApp or Telegram details, some options to contact you via internet. I think LinkedIn doesn't allow you to provide your email address. They will ban your message. It's better to leave the phone. LinkedIn will give you a list of, for example, 49 contacts in this industry or company you are interested. So 49 chief procurement offices or finance managers, if you are a financial, or construction directors, if you are a builder, and so on. You click on each invitation, personalize, and send a message including their name. Hello, Bob, Marie, good afternoon, and so on. Take your time. This works much better than just saying, hello, I'm looking for a job. It's always nice to receive personalized message, and they get answered more often than not. That's it about direct connections in LinkedIn. This network has another option to send your messages to groups. By the way, not only LinkedIn, there are also many professional groups on Facebook and other social networks, especially for pharmacists, builders, financiers, for HR, for buyers, and so on. There are all sorts of groups in LinkedIn. In general, I think that LinkedIn is a great network, a great professional community. I love it very much. And this is the network in which I live. Everybody in executive search use it. In general, all recruiters live there. When I say I live, I mean it figuratively, because I don't like using Facebook and other networks much for hiring. Although sometimes I manage to find candidates for myself, even through resources that are very far from hiring and vacancies. It happens too. LinkedIn has groups on various topics, professional communities, pages. So you go there, apply to join these groups, post your information there, and investigate, please, what they provide there. Are there vacancies? Again, there is no need to post your resume there. I'm such and such. I finished work there and I will be glad if you consider me for some positions, and so on. Or, I am looking for a job as a buyer. You don't need to write, I'm looking for a job. It's better to write, guys, who needs to build a factory? Or, who needs to establish financial processes in the company? Now I have finished work there and I'm ready to do something else, solve some new problems. Write modestly, politely, with dignity, so that there is no such thing as good people give me a barefoot and unhappy person a job, please, I'm sitting with absolutely no money, and so on. Very often I observe this. It almost feels like begging for alms. Please give me a job. This type of attitude is inappropriate. Treat everybody with dignity. Behave with dignity and know that other people also have dignity. It is pleasant for them to deal with those people who have dignity. When you treat people with dignity, you attract worthy treatment yourself. Through begging, people attract people who will try to take advantage of them. No one can guarantee that this story will end well. Go through all the groups that relate to your profile. Post everywhere your information. I recommend you do this every week or periodically. The active groups upload many posts, and you will see them at the top. The old posts move further down. LinkedIn has information on how many posts were posted in each group during the day or the week, for example. 40 posts have appeared recently, or 2 posts have appeared in a week. That is, you understand that if 2 posts have been posted in the group in the last week, then your post will be third on the list and it will be visible. But if there are 40 posts in the group a week, then your post will move down the list, where hardly anyone gets to it. In that case, remember to update your post so it gets on top again and people can see it. Please try to include a photo. The photo doesn't have to be yours. If you want to build a plant, you can insert a photo of factories. If you sell pharma or medications, take a photo of these medications and insert them there. Specify your topic, because people nowadays react strongly to all these pictures. They don't read the text most of the time. There is an insane amount of texts, and probably everyone can go crazy reading an insane amount of information on the social networks. How to use national resume resources? Firstly, don't keep more than one resume in any resource. All the recruiters who have access to databases see that a person has 4 resumes, 20 resumes, and so on. This shows them that this person doesn't have strong and defined intention to work and direction of development. This applicant is not self-determined. They do not need to hire somebody with these 20 or 4 resumes. Better to have only one resume, but it should be as complete as possible, and it must include your goal. Now, how do we work with resources which does not allow us to fill the information about our goal of search? We can use such a system very tricky. Figuratively speaking, we are not deceiving anyone. but you need a section where you can write about yourself and your goal, your aspirations. LinkedIn has this field. It is located in the very header of the profile, where a person writes about himself or herself, ideally very briefly. In national job portals, you need to create a new job, name it, for example, job of my future. Come up with a name that the system will accept. If the site doesn't accept any of the names you wrote, call it whatever name you want, foreign or national. Write in your text, from such time to the present, and so on. Or, for example, as well, below I want to describe my dream job. And immediately here, write about yourself. I'm so and so, my aspirations, intentions are such and such, or I need to devote myself to, then something like this. I'm ready to do this and that, and so on. Include the most important information. First, section about myself. Who am I? What can I give you? My intentions and aspirations. As this section about your dream work at the very top, it is visible to the employers. Or, for example, if you have some idea, you describe it there too. We are simply building a work around the opportunities we are given. If in the future these systems create fields about myself, about my intentions and goals, and provide the option for a brief description of your dream job, the future job, then great. Then it will not be necessary to invent anything. But for now, you have to somehow get around those restrictions. Job sources react absolutely unpredictably. You can find the most excellent positions there. Don't forget about state labor exchanges. As far as I know, labor exchanges offer very interesting positions sometimes, even in international companies. Companies give information about vacancies to a regular labor exchange. And you can find decent position there, and even for very high salaries. And this is also a good channel for search. Don't discard it. Try to use all possible resources. Leave information everywhere. And this is your passive search option. It will work by itself, and recruiters will find you by keywords, requests, and by keywords, they will request and contact you. While this whole passive system is at work, you start to search actively. Great, thanks. Have a nice day.